What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So one issue that a lot of C5 Corvette owners have is the weather stripping on the wiper cowl begins to deteriorate and peel off, and it starts to look something like this. So in today's episode, I want to show you guys exactly how to fix that, so stay tuned. As you guys can see, the weather stripping on my wiper cowl is peeling up in multiple places, and it's really hard to tell unless you get up close, but once you get up close, it looks really crappy. What a lot of people do is they'll just replace the entire wiper cowl, which is totally fine. But these are pretty expensive and usually run around $200 to $300, and my wiper cowl is in pretty good shape, so I'm gonna try and salvage it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cowl, I'm going to clean up the adhesive on the peeling sections of the trim, I'm also going to fix this nipple here because this is actually broken, and then I'm going to just clean this thing up with some trim restore to get it looking brand new. So let's get started on taking the cowl off. So the first thing we have to do is remove the wiper arms, so we're just going to pop off this little cover here, and that's going to expose the nuts here. So now this nut is a 13 millimeter, so we're going to take that off now. And you usually have to work these quite a bit to get them off. They're pretty stuck on there and they're pretty stubborn, so just take your time. You don't want to break anything. There you go. And then now we want to make sure that we're very careful with this. This one's already broken, so I'm not super worried about it, but you just want to pull off this rubber hose on this nipple here, and then you can remove the arm. And then do the exact same thing on this side. And again, be very careful not to break this. So now the cowl just has, I think, 5 of these little clips. So we're just gonna pop the middle out of the clip. We've all seen these all over the car. So you're just going to pop that up just like that and pull it out. So there's, one here, one there, there, and then at the end there. And at this point, the wiper cowl should be ready to come up. So you're just going to give it a tug and make sure that your wiper arms here, the point where they mount, is lined up so you're not pulling on that. And then there are 2 tabs on each corner, so you're going to have to pull it forward a little bit to clear those tabs from under the windshield. And you should be able to pull it out from there, kind of work it around the fender a little bit. It's a little tight in some spots. Looks like there are there are tabs along the entire thing, so you'll just have to work those out. Again, just take your time with it. You don't want to crack this because this plastic is brittle and old, and you really don't want to have to spend $200 on a new one of these just because you were trying to rush through it. So it's free now. There's one last thing that we have to do. So now you'll see on the side here, there is a little section. You've got your hoses for your washer fluid, so you'll want to disconnect that as well. There we go, and we'll just leave this hanging right in there. And don't forget to reconnect that. All right, this is what we got. So as you guys can see, the trim is peeling all along this thing. It looks pretty rough. It's pretty dirty, pretty nasty, and I took out this nipple here, so this guy just pops in just like that. And then this top piece plugs in kind of like that. Normally, it has a longer stem that goes in there, but it broke off on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and glue it back on the top and try to get it to not leak. I don't really use this super often to spray the windshield, so I just need it to, work well enough. I'm not super concerned about it. If it doesn't work, I'll just go and try and find another one, but for now, I'm just gonna try and make do with what I've got. But the main course of action here is going to be getting this weather stripping looking as nice as possible. So I'm gonna try and clean up all of this stuff with some alcohol, clean up all the underside here, glue all of this back together, and try to use some trim restorer to make this, nice and new looking, and then throw it back on the car. I also cleaned up the windshield on the bottom there, just so I don't have any like dirt and that kind of stuff peeking through, because after restoring this thing, I don't want to have all kinds of dirt that I'm laying it on top of. So I'm trying to make this thing look as nice as I possibly can. So let's get to it. All right, there we go. There is the first section done. As you guys can see, that's on there pretty stout, no more peeling. Just used a little bit of this super glue Loctite on the back of it after cleaning it with some isopropyl alcohol, and it seems like it's doing the trick. So I think I'm just going to super glue like all the rough spots, like here I'm going to super glue all that down, and then once I'm done, I'm going to go through on the back and kind of, get the back a second time, just that way it's really tight on there, because I really don't want to have to go and do this again. So I'm going to keep working at it. So I got all of the adhesive off on this last peeling edge. So now I am cleaning it with alcohol. The alcohol is super important with this, guys. This is really what's gonna help this stick. So while I'm at it, I'm also kind of cleaning up all these other edges, just because, why not? I just like cleaning things up, making it look nice. So now at this point, I'm gonna throw some glue on it and stick it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting the glue into this kind of crevice in here. So that's gonna sit on the lip of the cowl, and that's gonna give a nice contact surface for the glue. And then just as extra measure, I'm putting just a little bit of the glue on this like tape on the outside here, just kind of like as a safety net in case the glue decides to not stick on the edge. So now on here, it kind of pops onto the lip of the cowl. So I'm just popping it on, and you'll kind of hear it pop. So there we go. I kind of wiggle it a little bit just to make sure that the glue is adhering correctly on there. Push it down a little bit. And now I just like to flip it over and make sure that all of this is sitting flush. So there we go. All of the glue is right where we want it. So now I'm just going to let it cure. And then I also just glued this guy back on. I tried my best to, glue the edges of it and then glue kind of like where the stem is on the inside, so that way it's not going to leak. But again, I mean, it is what it is. If it leaks, I'll just replace it. It's not the end of the world. I have to say, this looks pretty nice. As you guys can see, it follows the entire edge of the cowl, and it's not lifting anywhere, and the glue should be cured by now. The only spot that I was really worried about was here. There was a bit of tension here, so I was a little concerned, but I used quite a bit of glue, and it seems like it's pretty good now. I'm not super worried about it. After I'm done, using the trim restorer and all that, I'm probably gonna go and line the back of it with some of this like shoe glue or shoe goo. I've used this stuff for other projects before and it usually seems to hold pretty well. So I'll probably just use that kind of as a safety net, just that way it doesn't peel again. So again, I'll probably just line the entire back of this with that, just that way we don't see any more lifting. And then at that point, we can put it back on the car. So yeah, let's get started with cleaning it all up. All right, there you have it. So after you wipe off the excess back to black, you're gonna have this. So I think that looks fantastic, especially considering what we started with. All of this trim is right where it's supposed to be. I am so excited to put this back on the car. And it is gonna be the nicest looking piece of trim on this car. So it's probably gonna stand out a little bit. But guys, I am really stoked with how that came out. And here's the back side after I put on some of this shoe goo. Again, guys, this is more of just a safety net to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm probably gonna leave this for a little while to let it dry so I don't make a mess. But with this on there, I can't imagine that these weather strippings are gonna go anywhere. Now that the shoe goo is all dry on the back side, it's time to reinstall this thing on the car. So it's going to be the exact same process in the reverse order that I showed you before. So I'm not going to show you all that because this would be super tedious if I went through that process again. So I'm just going to show you guys the finished product. And there it is, fully installed. Yep, that was definitely worth the effort. As you guys can see, no more peeling. All the way around, all of that trim is securely fastened. Nothing is flapping around. That looks fantastic. And with the hood closed, yep, that looks beautiful, guys. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how to fix the weather stripping on the wiper cowl on your C5 Corvette. But let me know in the comments below if you've had this issue on your C5. That's all for this week, but if you enjoyed the content for today, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for future content. I'll catch you guys next week. Later.